Good morning, dear students. Hope you are safe at home and studying hard. Today, the topic we are going to discuss is stem cells, the sources, the process of isolation, culturing, and its applications. So, here you can see the cover pages of our reputed magazines like Economic Times, which is emphasizing the importance and the applications of stem cell for the betterment of human being. And that is the reason why the stem cell is most fascinating area of biological research today. As far as definition is concerned, the stem cells are specialized cells that is having ability to divide indefinitely and has potential to give rise to any specialized cells in the body. So stem cells, you can see the stem cells are unspecialized, also called as blank cells. Now let us take an example of a zygote, right? The eggs are there, the egg is produced by female and the sperm is produced by male. Egg and sperm fuses together, fertilization is a process and it produces a diploid zygote, right? Now this diploid zygote, from this diploid zygote the entire human being is created. So that diploid zygote can be called as unspecialized, and this diploid zygote, it divides in the course of time, it divides into different cells. Those cells are committed for one particular lineages, we call them as a progenitor cells. So what is my point here is the diploid zygote can be called as blank cell because it is the most general form of cell which is having capacity to produce almost every cell in the human beings. If we talk about cells, then you must have studied the different cells which are there in human beings. For example, we have the RBCs, we have the cells of immune system, which is further differentiated into the T cells are there, B cells are there, then we have epithelial cells, then we have cells of liver, hepatocytes, which is the cells of liver, then we have adipocytes, which is the cells which is responsible for the storage of the fat, then we have epithelial cells, then we have hair follicle cells, then we have the neurons. All this specialized form of cells has been derived from the general cell. We can call it as an unspecialized cell, that is the zygote. The stem cells are unspecialized or undifferentiated cells, and one fundamental property of the stem cell is that it does not have any tissue specific structure. So if you compare the structure of a zygote with the structure of a neuron, the zygote is not like a neuron, it is morely it is having general structure which can be differentiated into the neuron, right? So that is the point. It is not having any tissue specific structure, that is, it is a plasticity, it is having plasticity, and besides that it is maintaining its own population. All the concentration of stem cell is very less as compared to other cells, very difficult to isolate, but it is still there and it maintains that concentration. So it maintains its concentration, and it not only maintains its concentration, it divides to produce a specific lineages that we are going to see. Besides this, the first characteristic is a proliferation. Like I said, they are having capacity to divide and renew themselves. Although the concentration is less, but still they divide themselves, they maintain their population, and with maintaining its population, it derives a cell which is committed for one particular lineage. So that is the first property, proliferation. So proliferation and renewal. let us take an example of hematopoietic stem cell which resides in the bone marrow. So what it do? It maintains its population, but with maintaining its population, it also produces a cell line which is committed. We called it as a progenitor cell, which is committed for one particular lineage that we will see. Okay, that I will show you a diagram for that. Then differentiation. This is the diagram I am talking about. Differentiation. The second characteristics is differentiation. They can give rise to specialized tissue. Although I have already given you example of a zygote. The zygote is a kind of a stem cell which is having capacity to develop each and every cell, and not only cells but entire organism, right? So differentiation, this undifferentiated zygote when developed into the adult, and this adult is having various type of cells. Like I said, it is having the hepatocytes, it is having the adipocytes, it is having hair follicle, it is having retinal cells, then it is having all the kind of cell, all these specialized cells which is performing special function is derived, or it is you can in the developmental biological term we call it as a differentiated cell, terminally differentiated cell. This cell which is very specialized is differentiated, is derived from undifferentiated or blank cells called as the stem cells. So that process, the stem cell, the first character is it maintains itself, but besides maintaining itself, it is having capability to differentiate itself into any kind of cell which is required by the body, right? The plasticity, the stem cells from the one tissue, that is that one beautiful experiment, and the result I will share with you for explaining the plasticity. Okay, now this is the diagram, and in this diagram you can see wait, let me have that. Now here you can see I have taken an example of a hematopoietic stem cells, right? And what I am trying to do is I am trying to explain you this characteristics, the general characteristics of a stem cell using this diagram, right? So the first character that we have studied is maintaining itself, proliferation. So here this is a hematopoietic stem cell. The hematopoietic stem cell is an example of stem cell which resides into the bone marrow, and this single cell can be committed for this lineage, we called it as a myeloid lineage, or it can get committed to this second type of lineage called as lymphoid lineage. So when it is committed to the myeloid lineage, it can produce different types of cells like a dendritic cells. Here you can see dendritic cells, or this myeloid lineage can produce a granulocytes, and that granulocytes further in the course of time it gets developed into neutrophils. Granulocytes can convert into monocytes and macrophages, that is the phagocytic cells which is present in our body, which fights against the antigen. This is causing antigen. Eosinophils, this myeloid progenitor can also produce eosinophils which matures into eosin. The same myeloid progenitor cell can produce a basophil progenitor which can get matured into basophils. It can get converted into megakaryocyte which further develops into the platelets which is required for wound healing. The same myeloid progenitor cell we can get converted into erythroid progenitor cell which is responsible for formation of your RBCs. The same hematopoietic stem cell is here is committed for the lymphoid progenitor cell which can produce a NK cell, natural killer cell, which plays a very important, it is a cell of immune system and it plays a very important role against the development of cancer and also virus. Then it produces the T cell progenitor which produces which get matured into T helper or cytotoxic T cell, which plays a very important or central role in the cell mediated immune system. The same lymphoid progenitor cell can produce a B cell progenitor which matures into the B cell, which is the cell responsible for production of antibodies which prevents us from the disease causing agents. And not only that, the same lymphoid progenitor can also produce a dendritic cells. So the first point, the proliferation. When this hematopoietic stem cell divides, which is residing in the bone marrow, when it divides, it maintains, look at here, the self-renewal. It divides itself, it divides into two cells. The one cell is maintaining its own population, and second cell which may be committed for one particular lineage. Either in this example myeloid lineage or in this example lymphoid lineage. So the first point, the proliferation. Here you can see the proliferation. This stem cell divides to maintain its population. Although population of stem cell is very rare, very small, very difficult to isolate, but still it maintains its population appropriately. Second, this stem cell, look at this stem cell is producing these two daughter cells, and these two daughter cells is having capacity to differentiate. So myeloid progenitor is having capacity to differentiate into erythroid, platelet, basophil, eosinophil, neutrophil, monocyte, macrophages, dendritic cell, etc. etc. Similarly, the same hematopoietic stem cells which is in their bone marrow is having capacity to differentiate into natural killer cells, then T helper cells, cytotoxic T cells, B cells, and the dendritic cell which is having different functions. So this is called as the differentiation. It maintains itself, that is proliferation. It differentiates itself into various type of cell which is required for the body. You must have studied homeostasis. What happens in homeostasis? The body is in the homeostasis. Whatever cells are there, each and every cell is having specific concentration, and that cell is always maintained at that particular concentration. When the cell dies accidentally or cell dies by the programmed cell death, the cell will be replenished. The new cells will be produced to maintain that particular concentration. This is called as homeostasis. So it maintains the population of every cell into that homeostatic conditions. The next is plasticity. The plasticity is a character which can be explained using that latest experiment which is performed by the Japanese scientist, where what he did, he has taken the skin cell, and he has converted that skin cell into pluripotent stem cells, and that pluripotent stem cells again into the islet of Langerhans. So skin cell, this is a skin cell which is isolated from human adult. It is getting converted, the scientist has converted that skin cell, which is an adult committed highly specialized cell. He turned that skin cell into the induced pluripotent stem cells. Induced pluripotent stem cells that we are going to discuss in next lecture. Okay, so skin cell which is a highly specialized, which is non-blank cells. You understand my point here? I am saying specialized cell is getting converted into IPCs. That IPC is getting converted into the cells of islets of Langerhans, the beta cells of islets of Langerhans. And you must have studied beta cells of islets of Langerhans, which is there in the pancreas, is responsible for synthesis of a hormone called as insulin. This insulin is responsible for the production. This insulin production is responsible for the decrease in the sugar concentration in the blood. Right. So when this insulin is produced, it reduces the sugar concentration in the blood. So there are some examples of diabetes where the beta cells, the functional beta cell is not there. So in this, the hematopoietic, the skin cells, the scientist has converted skin cells into the IPCs, that is the pluripotent stem cells, induced pluripotent stem cells, and this induced pluripotent stem cell is converted into the beta cells. So now this is a skin cell. This is a journey from skin cell to the pancreatic cells, the beta cells in the pancreas. This journey can be called as plasticity. So the stem cells here the example is different. The stem cell having plasticity, this stem cell is having plasticity to get converted into erythroid, that is your RBC, or your B cells, which is producing antibodies. So that is the fourth character, the plasticity. Now this is the stem cell classification based on the potency or the plasticity. So how much potential the stem cell is having, on the basis of that we have differentiated this into the 3 types or 4 types or 5 types. Okay, so basically here you can see this is a single cell embryo. So the same example I was talking about, the egg which is fused to the sperm to produce a diploid zygote. And this diploid zygote, look at this, this is the sperm and this is the egg. When they get fertilized to produce a diploid zygote, and this diploid zygote will divide in the process of a cleavage, and this cleavage further develops an embryo called as blastocell. Here you can see the blastocell. So initially the first division to second division, when the zygote is produced by the fusion of these two gametes, it produces a diploid zygote. Here you can see this diploid zygote. When this diploid zygote gets into the process of cleavage, that is developmental stage, it starts dividing. So first division will be there, dividing this cell into 2 different cells. At this initial phase, we can classify this as a totipotent stem cells, totipotent. So when they look at this, when this diploid zygote is divided into 2 cells, and when you remove or separate these 2 cells, so this is a diploid zygote, the large nucleus, and then it goes into the cleavage, the process of cleavage, and this diploid zygote is divided into 2 cells having 2 nucleus. This is called as a cleavage. And if you separate these 2 cells here, which is having furrow here, if you separate it, so this is now 1 cell and this is second cell. So each cell, this cell is going to produce a complete human embryo. And also this cell is having same potential to produce a complete human embryo. So according to its potency, this cell is having potential to produce a complete human embryo, complete human beings. And when it is having capacity to produce complete human beings, so obviously this cell is having capacity to produce every cells of a adult human being. And so such potency, the cell which can produce the complete human being or complete organism, is called as a totipotent stem cells. The important thing you should note here is the totipotent stem cells are only the initially dividing zygote cells. The zygote is produced, this is the zygote, and the first and second division of zygote is having this plasticity or this capacity called as totipotent. Initially dividing this zygote, the 2 cells, and if you separate these 2 cells, each cell is having capacity to produce a complete human embryo. So that is the reason we called it as a totipotent stem cells. Now second type of stem cells is called as a pluripotent stem cells. The pluripotent stem cell is not having the capacity of totipotent stem cells. So when you separate the pluripotent, look at this in this experiment, here the zygote is there. This is the initial stage of cleavage. Now this cell will divide. Look at this, first division, second division, third division, and multiple cell, the multiple cell ball, the ball having multiple cell is produced, and then the ball further grows, and that ball is having the central empty cavity. This is a developmental stage and we called it as a blastula. So this is the blastula. And the central cavity here, this is the cavity, and this cavity is called as blastocell, right? So this is the blastula and this is the blastocell. This is the blastula and this is blastocell. And here you can see the cells of the blastula, especially that cells which is represented by red in color. It is called as ICMs, inner cell mass. And this inner cell mass is called as a pluripotent stem cells. right? Pluripotent stem cell. How it is different from totipotent stem cell? When you isolate this cell of ICM, it will not, in any condition, it will never going to produce a complete organism, right? But theoretically, this stem cell can produce more than 200 plus type of cells in the body. So these are also very important stem cells. Actually, most of the focus of the research is on these stem cells. Although these stem cells, the pluripotent stem cell, which can be extracted from the inner cell mass, they cannot produce complete organism, but they are having capacity to produce more than 200 plus type of cells in the body, and so they can produce 200 plus type of cells, which is required for the body. So that's why pluri means many. So this second type of the stem cell, based on the classification on the plasticity or potency, it is the pluripotent. Then comes a multipotent stem cell. The example is already given to you, explain here. This is an example of a multipotent stem cell. Multi means more than one. This stem cell can produce more than one type of cell type, so it is an example of multipotent. And then dipotent, the cell which is having capacity to get converted into dipotent cell. For example, here you can see that is, you can call it as this T cell progenitor dipotent or bipotent stem cell. This is a cell which is having capacity to get either converted into T helper cell or get converted into cytotoxic T cell. So that is the multipotent, bipotent stem cells or unipotent stem cell, etc., etc. This classification is purely based on its level of plasticity or potency. So totipotent, it can produce a whole organism. Pluripotent, it cannot produce whole organism, but it can produce almost most of the cells of an adult. Multipotent, it can produce multiple cells, and dipotent or bipotent, it can produce two types of cells. Unipotent, it can produce only one type of cells. Okay, so it is the same thing. Totipotent, these cells have potential to become any types of cells of adult body or into complete adult body. The example given here, again the same example, the fertilized egg, zygote, more appropriately zygote, and the first four cells, I said two cells, here for the first four cells of dividing zygote is having capacity to get converted into the entire embryo, so you can call it as a totipotent. The second is the pluripotent. These are the stem cell which is having potential to make many differentiated cells into body. Theoretically 200 plus cells it can produce. The sources, the totipotent is already mentioned. The initial developing cells, especially the zygote, and first four cells, the first four cells produced by the cleavage in the zygote are the sources of totipotent stem cells. As far as pluripotent stem cell is concerned, this extra embryonic membranes, placenta, you must have seen in the maternity hospital, there are company representative people who come to procure the umbilical cord. So when umbilical cord, it is a connection between the developing fetus and the mother, and this umbilical cord is proven to harvest or to harbor the various stem cells. So it is a great source, and that is the reason you can see the company representative come in the maternity hospital in order to procure the umbilical cord, because that umbilical cord is harboring the pluripotent stem cells, and these pluripotent stem cells can be used for various applications that we will see, right? Besides this, the second source is the ICM. What is ICM? Inner cell mass. Here you can see the blastula is there. The blastula is having central cavity called blastocells, and inner area of a blastula is having cells, and that cell is called as inner cell mass. And this inner cell mass, when cultured and given appropriate microenvironment, it can get converted into 200 plus types of stem cells. So now this is the type of stem cell based on the sources, right? What is the source of stem cells? Here that we will see in the next video.